Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth. I am a graduate student intern with counseling services at SUNY Broome. And this semester, I am starting this new video series, as you can see, that is called Quarantine Chats with Counseling Services. And in this case, it's with me, Elizabeth. Hi. So Ginny, what is one word that you would use to describe your time as a student or professional during this pandemic?
So the word that came to mind when I hear that question is growth. So I feel like the changes that we had to make really pushed me outside my comfort zone. So I really had to, really was a lot of growth in how I handle things and how I do things. So although it's hard, I kind of appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's something that like a lot of people have been holding on to is like, where can I find like a positive, and not even necessarily a positive, but like, where can I find a learning experience? Like, what is something that's like gonna ground me through like this experience and know that it's been worth something, like there's some meaning in all of this.
Right.
And with that, how do you think you found meaning through the pandemic? I know you're talking about like growth. Is there like a specific area or, something that's really been an anchor for you during the time?
So I've always been kind of one of those people that would hang out kind of in the background. And so like the whole Zoom and all that has really forced me to put myself out there and, accept that I'm in the front lines kind of. And I think too, just it's kind of allowed me to kind of figure out my priorities and what's important, because it made me slow down a little bit, and be like, okay, so that really wasn't important, even though I was putting it so much emphasis on it. So it's kind of made me look at what I feel is important in my life.
Right. Yeah. that definitely resonates with me as well. Like having to slow down and like figure out like, I only have so many hours in a day. What am I going to get done today? So what does that usually look like for you when you're slowing down and kind of taking that step back? What does that look like?
Well, so I'm in a little bit different area from where most people are in graduate school, because I have children. So it's really been, like we used to run all the time to do all their activities, which kind of have been stopped. So, it's really allowed us to see, yeah, they were important, but it was also taking a lot of time, so we've had more time just kind of at home to talk and kind of really get to know each other again, because we were all so busy. We were just running all over the place. So that's been kind of nice.
Yeah, so definitely like more of a tangible slowing down, and then also like that mental like switch of like, all right, this is not going to be anywhere near the same as what I'm used to. Let's see how we can, find some way to slow down and make some normalcy out of this.
Yeah. So, and with my studies, I had to switch completely over to, to online, which was not my my choice and preference. And also, I very much like to have like the books and the papers in front of me, and with it being online, all that stuff's been online. So it's been the whole adapting to all that, and learning how to make that work so that it works best for me, so I wasn't like pushing too much time on the computer. Had to break it out a little bit, be like, I'll do this now, and then I'll take a break and come back. So really was
definitely like finding that balance.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be like one of my keywords is like balance between like family time, social time, self-care, but just like times 100. And then also like having to be creative and like how to make that happen. Obviously, like haven't been able to see a lot of people. So finding a balance in a whole new way. And like for me, that's kind of meant like being more okay with being by myself and having to like recharge my battery, like sitting in my room by myself and like having like quiet time, essentially, like trying to kind of dial things back and like down to the basics again, like making sure I'm like, did I eat today? Or like, have I been drinking water? Like,
Or how many times did I eat? Because sometimes it'd be like, oh, I'll just eat. Oh, I think I just ate.
yeah, because it all gets like so monotonous. Like all of the systems that you're already used to, like your structure goes down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, like I'm already a kind of person where one structure, like sticking to one structure, like one way of doing things doesn't work for me. I always have to be like adapting, like, and this is like daily I have to adapt and like try to come up with a new way of like making things make sense in my brain and like staying to like a structure for my own sanity. So like given that like I already struggle with that, it's like now it's that just amplified through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've kind of had to like structure your life around like your family and everything too, obviously, because you're a mom and you work and have school and everything. But what's something kind of fun and relaxing that you've gotten to do over the past few months during the pandemic?
So I've started doing more. I love to be outside, and it's given me time to do more outside stuff. So we kayaked quite a bit this summer. We hiked, that kind of stuff. So really just kind of connecting to nature, which has been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So and
And I
fun.
feel like that's like one of those activities where they're like, that's the safe zone. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're outside and you're like away from people, kind of just like being one and one. Is it one with nature?
One
What's the
with
expression?
nature. Yep,
Yeah,
that's it. One with nature.
my brain just shorted out. Like I feel like that's like one of the safest. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Safest activities. I'm trying to like combine all my words together. One of the safest things that you can do is like
Mm-hmm.
just get outside and like go do the things.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I did find myself becoming the Hallmark Channel junkie over the Christmas season, though I will admit I was, which I have never done before, but I watched a lot of Hallmark movies.
I love that because I also think it's like you discover like things about yourself that you never had the opportunity to like discover about yourself. And those things aren't always positive. Like it's not always like, you know, I discovered I really like to hike. It's sometimes like, yeah, I've realized that when I'm in my room for a week straight and I don't go anywhere, I don't feel good. Like
Right.
so it's like this opportunity of like discovering a lot of different things about yourself and like the people that are like in your bubble that like you would have never had the chance to like explore.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been very interesting.
Yeah. It sounds it, especially like, with your little unit. And like I think that kind of goes back to like the slowing down piece that like you brought up is like once you are kind of forced to slow down, like it's kind of like a hard reset of like let's relearn how to have fun and how to
Yeah.
relax and like you kind of talked about like being able to reconnect with like your kids a little bit in that way of like you know strengthening relationships or like relearning relationships, whatever the case would be,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool, kind of a cool thing to hear about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess moving on to the next question. What are the most important words of advice that you wish your current self could give your past college student self or a current college student self, or maybe even like your kids' college student self?
So I think when I think about that, it would be to take risks, whether, especially in the classroom or in your schooling, put yourself out there, try something new, and push yourself to do things. Like I'm not big at asking questions in class, and I've really been trying to do better with that, so like take your risk and put yourself out there and ask those questions if you have them. And I also think one thing I always tell my kids is, you know, take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you at school. Because they offer so many things. I know it's a little limited now, but they still do offer a lot of things to their students, and there are opportunities that you probably won't have accessible once you're out of school. I mean,
Right.
you can do them, but not as cheaply as you can do them in
Mhm.
school. So take advantage of all that stuff, you know, and try new things.
Yeah, I think that's been like a theme for me too. It's like try new things and like put yourself out there, and like it might be really uncomfortable and it might end up being one of the best things you've ever tried. Like you never really know. And like
Yeah.
if you're not going to lose anything, then why not like take the chance of gaining something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Take that random course that sounds a little, you know, off what you would normally do, but go ahead and take that and see what you think. You know, that's what I would say. So
That for me in undergrad, well, there were a few of them, but I took ballroom dancing because we had to have so many like PE credits. And we had like a third term. It was like a half length third term. And it was kind of like for most people, like your fun semester. So like some people did like study abroad travel. Some people did like they had to do like math courses, which were not so fun. But then there was like cooking with chemistry and, you know, just fun things. So I did ballroom dancing as one of my PE credits. And I was like, I'm so uncomfortable. Like people looking at me moving and like on a dance floor, but it was like one of the best things I've ever done. Like I still find myself saying like, man, I wish I like would have taken more art classes, or like I would have like, you know, had more time to ballroom dance. I'm like, who am I?
yeah, I took jazz. I did not finish it, but I did attempt to do it. But I am not a dancer. So, but I
You
did
win
attempt
some,
to.
you lose some.
Yes. So, but it's fun to look back and know that I tried. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'd say. Take that risk and do it. So,
Yeah. And like just thinking of the stories that we'll have to tell
right.
like later on, especially
Exactly.
from like right now, like wow. Just
Yes.
thinking of like when my niece and nephew grow up and they're homeschooled, so they don't even have any of, you know, the experience of being in a school right now. So just thinking about what I'll get to tell them when I grow up is
Hmm.
or when they grow up. When I grow up too, I guess. I'm a youngin.
You are a youngin, so.
I am. So moving on, how do you take care of your mental health? And do you have a self-care routine or activities that you engage in regularly?
So since the pandemic started, I have started doing meditation, which I really enjoy. So I try to do that about 3 times a week. Um, I do massage and I've started doing acupuncture. So I've tried to put
Ooh,
new things in, you know, and see. And then I've started to make a little exercise routine, which to me is that's where I really kind of gain my balance is working out. So,
mhm,
but yeah, but incorporating the meditation has
mhm,
really made a huge difference. So I tell everybody about it now. I'm like, you need to try this. And I only do
mhm.
like a 10-minute one. I don't do anything really long, but it just makes a difference to be able to have that time. So,
Right. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing like mindfulness, but also like incorporating like physicality into things, which is like really cool.
mhm.
What does meditation look like for you? Like, what do you use for that?
So I just go on YouTube and Google. And I kind of depends on my mood. Like I've done some, you know, for increasing self-worth. I've done some for calming the mind. I've done some for stress, you know, so I kind of figure out where I am that day and
Mhm,
see what would work the best. And I do only do like 10 or 15 minutes. I try not to do long ones. Um, and it is tough. I do find myself drifting quite a bit. And I'm like, okay,
mhm.
focus, focus. But
Yeah.
but I am getting better. So, you know, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that definitely like you have to stick with it in order to like get better at that for sure. Like practice makes perfect is no joke when it comes to meditation. Like
Hmm.
so true. Um, how have you found that that's helped you? Like what areas of life has that helped you with?
I actually feel like it helps my concentration. Like I feel like I'm able to focus more on other aspects of my life, you know, where I always felt like my mind was forever bouncing. Like I was always thinking about different things. And I feel like now I can kind of concentrate a little bit longer, you know, on that one thing. And I think it just makes me feel better. like I do it in the morning, and I think it just makes me feel better and gets my day off to a better start. So
Mm-hmm. I think a good follow-up question to that would be, if somebody out there wants to start doing some mindfulness or meditation, what would be some advice that you would give someone who is just starting out or kind of also has that struggle of like, it's really hard to sit and like do nothing for 10 minutes, like, and just focus on my thoughts. Like, what would you give them for that?
so I would say start with the shorter meditations. Don't try to go long to begin with.
Mhm.
And I find that doing it in the morning is better for me because everything's quiet. So if I get up and I go right to doing that, I haven't started any distractions. So I just do it while everything's quiet and then it's done and out of the way.
Right.
For me, that works better because I know some people do it at night, but that doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of just like tailor it to whatever is going to like feel the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like that's like a pretty good principle to stick with like any mindfulness activity, like whether it's like meditation, free writing, yoga, anything like that, because I think the whole point of doing mindfulness is to take away expectations and like take away the shoulds and like the hustle and bustle of like expectations that everybody's like throwing at you. But I also think when you're first getting started, it's hard to not like pay attention to like, yeah, you're supposed to just sit there with your eyes closed and like it's supposed to be done a certain way. But yeah, I think it's so important to like figure out what your own like personal mindfulness journey looks
Mm-hmm.
like in order for it to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Because at first I thought I had to sit cross-legged with my hands on, and now sometimes I lay flat on my back. Sometimes I sit in the chair. Sometimes I'm on the ground, so I kind of do whatever feels best that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like something that I would really love to see normalized and something that like I try to normalize with people, like whether it's someone I'm working with or whether it's just like a friend or whatever, is like changing things up constantly if that's what you need to do. Like have a tool set that you can default to. So like if that day sitting up in place and like closing your eyes doesn't work, like find like a comfy chair or like lay down flat or like find a yoga pose, like whatever. Like I think just like normalizing the fact that like if it doesn't work for you on a given day, like that's not a failure. And it's not like, well, I tried it and it didn't work. Like it's okay to like change things up constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's been like something that's helped me.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, not counting as a failure, because there's some days where I don't do well at all, like my mind is still all over the place, but I still just keep doing it because it's not a failure. It's just you have to practice to do it a lot. So I think keeping that in mind is important also.
Well, yeah.
So,
And I think like you show up for yourself. And like as long as you keep showing up for yourself, like that's self-care.
mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yep. So do you still have time for rapid fire questions
Yep.
or
Go
okay?
ahead.
Because I
Nope.
know
Go
we have like a minute-ish until noon, but they'll be really quick.
You're fine. Rapid fire away.
Okay, so our rapid fire round. Um, do you enjoy studying at a desk or a couch?
Desk.
Do you enjoy sweet or salty study snacks?
Ooh, I kind of like both. I'll have a little of both
That's
together.
fair. Do you like doing homework with or without music?
Without.
Okay. Are you an early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. And then do you enjoy Netflix or reading to relax after a long day?
Oh, that's tough. I would have to go with reading.
Okay. And that is
Yeah.
all I have for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with
Yeah.
me today.
No, that was fun.
Mhm. It's nice to catch up, even if it's for a little while, just to see your face.
I know.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.